Hey, everybody, welcome back to the next episode of the 458 podcast. Sorry it's been so long. We're going to jump right back into it. I'm a little bit late, but here's the August Sooner script. I'll just start on the front cover. So, news and information July 2nd, 2024. Department of Labor announces proposed rule to protect workers in extreme heat. Today, the U.S. Department of Labor, the DOL, released a proposed rule which the goal of protecting millions of workers from the significant health risk of extreme heat. The rule would require employers to establish a heat injury and illness prevention plan, the HIIPP, that includes specific elements outlined in the proposed rule necessary to protect workers from the dangers of excessive heat. The proposed rule will be published in the Federal Register and will call for public comments. The DOL also anticipates a public hearing after the close of the written comment period. The health and safety of letter carriers always comes first, NALC President Brian L. Renfro said. NALC has fought for more than a decade in several avenues to achieve protections for our members from the dangers we face working outdoors in excessive heat. While progress has been made, a national rule that requires employers to provide comprehensive prevention is the ultimate solution. We appreciate Acting Secretary Julie Sue for her engagement with our union and for prioritizing this important issue. NALC fully supports implementation of this proposed rule. On page 2, we have the President's Report. Ken Mayfield, Branch President, 458. I hope everyone is doing well this month. For those of you who have not read their July postal record, you can find a digital version at, and then it's got a link there. If you go to the NALC Branch 458 website, I'm sure that link will work. Um, but it's there on nalc.org, and you can use the search bar to search for the July postal record is the easiest way to do it. There are several excellent articles, but I want to point out Brother Dan Toth's article, especially to our retired members. Brother Toth is an NALC director of retirees, and in his article on page 41, he discusses the Postal Service Reform Act of 2022, and more specifically, the special enrollment period, the SEP, for those retirees and their eligible family members who did not enroll in Medicare Part B when they became eligible for whatever reason you may not have enrolled. In Medicare Part B, when you when you become eligible, you can enroll during the SEP and the Postal Service will pay the late enrollment penalty for the remainder of the time you are enrolled. The deadline to enroll in Medicare Part B during the SEP is September 30th, 2024. This month, I would also like to discuss registering to vote. If you are not registered to vote, I am strongly urging you and your eligible family members to do so. We have included a copy of the print version of the Oklahoma voter registration application in this issue of the Sooner Script. You can use this application to register to vote for the first time in Oklahoma, change your address for voter registration within Oklahoma, change your name, change your political party, or change your mailing address. Just complete the application, remove it from the newsletter, and mail it to the address on the reverse. You can also complete the Oklahoma voter registration application at okvoterportal.okelection.us/home/reg-wizard. The deadline to register to vote in Oklahoma for the November 5th, 2024 election is October 11th, 2024. Number 1, you can also request an Oklahoma absentee ballot at okvoterportal.okelection.us. The deadline to request an absentee ballot is October 21st, 2024. Any registered voter in Oklahoma can request an absentee ballot for no excuse. All of this leads me to Letter Carrier Political Fund, the LCPF. Legislation which benefits letter carriers can only be enacted when we have friends in Congress. Unfortunately, this only happens with money and votes. The NALC and the LCPF are not concerned with candidates' party affiliation or their position on abortion, guns, the border, etc. LCPF contributes to the candidates who support the letter carriers and the U.S. Postal Service. In the past, LCPF has contributed to Oklahoma Representative Lucas, Cole, and Bice, as well as Senator Mullen. Additionally, please consider and contribute to the LCPF as job insurance. Article 43(1) of the National Agreement states in part, should any of this agreement or any provision contained herein be rendered or declared invalid by reasons of any existing or subsequently enacted legislation. This means that Congress at any time can create legislation that could render our contract with the U.S. Postal Service null and void. We request $5 per pay period for active members and $5 per month for retired members, but you could contribute as little as $1 per pay period per month, and it would go a long way towards helping NALC achieve its goal with legislation. You can find more information on how to contribute to LCPF later in this edition of the Sooner Script. On page 3, while we are discussing legislation, you will also find in this edition a list of the NALC priority legislation. Currently, of these bills, Representative Lucas, Cole, and Bice are co-sponsors of H.R. 82, and Senator Mullen is the co-sponsor of S. 597. NALC legislative and political organizer, LPO, for Oklahoma, Brother Matt Tanner, recently appeared on the Branch 458 podcast with Brother Casey Ritchie and attended our July 11th branch meeting to give updates on these bills, as well as other legislative items. Thanks, Matt. If you have yet to check out Casey's podcast, it can be found on Podbean or wherever you get your podcasts by searching NALC Branch 458. Finally, also in the July postal record, Stamp Out Hunger food drive results are listed. Branch 458 finished number 2 in category 4, which is 700 through 999 members, and number 4 in nation in pounds collected this year with 1,011,188 pounds. This is a great outcome, and I am continually amazed by the dedication and hard work of our members to make this drive as successful every year. Thank you all. I also want to thank every rural carrier, clerk, postmaster, manager, supervisor, and volunteer who assisted to make this food drive a success every year. I also want to give a very special thanks to Whitney Atterbury of the Regional Food Bank of Oklahoma. Whitney puts up with a bunch of cantankerous old men every year to help us improve upon the previous year. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. Until next month, be safe and be careful. Ken. There's a note here on page 3. Note, by making a contribution to the Letter Carrier Political Fund, you are doing so voluntarily with the understanding that your contribution is not a condition of membership in the NALC or employment by the Postal Service, nor is it a part of your union dues. You have a right to refuse to contribute without any reprisal. Any guideline amount are merely suggestions, and you may contribute more or less than the guidelines suggested, and the union will not favor or disadvantage you by reason of the amount of your contribution or your decision not to contribute. The Letter Carrier Political Fund will use the money it receives to contribute to candidates for federal office and undertake other political spending as permitted by law. Your selection shall remain in full force and effect until canceled. Contributions to the Letter Carrier Political Fund are not deductible or federal income tax purposes. Federal law prohibits the Letter Carrier Political Fund from soliciting contributions from individuals who are not NALC members, executive or administrative staff, or their families. Any contribution received from such an individual will be refunded to that contributor. Federal law requires us to use our best efforts to collect and report the name, mailing address, name of the employer, and occupation of individuals whose contributions exceed $200 in a calendar year. And that moves us on to page 4. Letter Carrier Perfect. Office. Ring in. Supervisors shall not require nor permit employees to work off the clock. Article 41, 3K. Inspecting vehicle. Perform an expanded vehicle safety check as described on Notice 76 for deficiencies, body damage, or inoperable items in mail or equipment which may have been left by previous drivers. M41 832. Reporting defects. Drivers must report all mechanical defects or failures and major body damages on PS Form 4565 vehicle repair tag as soon as noted. M41 842.1. Carrier Route Book. Check for 1564A route instruction to find the location of the collection box, relay point, park and loop location, route schedule, line of travel, and authorized lunch location. M41 251 through 252. Casing letters. Pick up a solid handful of mail with the left hand. Since the stamps are down and facing the right, the mail will be in the proper reading position when picking up. M41 224.21. To case letter mail, the carrier stands a few inches back from the center of the case where labels can be easily read and letter separation reached without moving the feet. The carrier picks up 2 or more inches of mail with the left hand. M39 121.14. Hold to one side. Letters for street and block number of street which do not appear on the case. These are probably intended for other routes but have been missorted. A. Return missorts to the distribution case before leaving on any trip and as far in advance of leaving time as possible. B. However, misthrows that can be handed to a nearby carrier should not be returned to the distribution. M41 224.17. Flats and spurs. When casing flats in small parcels and rolls, spurs, the carrier stands directly in front of the flat case holding approximately 50 pieces, or 6 inches, in the left arm while distributing with the right hand. The carrier will not pick up pieces individually from the case ledge. M39 121.16. Local management determines what is or is not a thin flat and whether a carrier will fold thin flats and place them in the letter case. M00402, signed on 11/15/77. Samples. Observe following procedures for handling address cards received for delivery of merchandise sampling. A. Foot carriers. 1. Separate address cards to normal number of relay points, removing undeliverable cards, and notify unit manager of the total number of deliverable address cards. 2. After unit manager determines the total number of cards to be delivered on the individual route each day, remove from relay stacks the quantity of cards for delivery so that each relay will have approximately the same number of samples. 3. Route the selected address cards in the proper letter case separations. 4. Withdraw the card which other case letter size mail, making no attempt to keep address cards separate. 5. Repeat steps 2, 3, and 4 until all are delivered. B. Motorized carriers. 1. After unit manager determines the number of cards to be delivered on individual route each day, routes the same number of the cards in the letter case separation, remove undeliverable cards, notify manager of the number of deliverable cards. 2. Withdraw cards with other case letter size mail, making no attempt to keep address cards separate. 3. Continue this process until all cards and samples are delivered. M41 225.18. Using stools. The carrier may use stools while casing mail and performing other office duties, provided the use of the stool does not interfere with or affect efficiency and standard job performance. Article 41.3. Casing standards. Management may not charge or impose discipline upon a carrier merely for failing to meet the 18 and 8 casing standards. M00386, signed on 7/11/77. Form 3849. The use of PS Form 3849, delivery notice, reminder, receipt, for each accountable piece and numbered insured parcel. Usually prepare PS Form 3849 as you make delivery. However, enter the address in the delivery section on the barcode side of the form for identification in the office at the time articles are issued. Place Form 3849 in proper separation case as a marker, but registered articles in the pocket of the satchel. Do not place registered in the carrier case with other mail or in relays. Page 5 gives you information on how to sign up for the Letter Carrier Political Fund, and it is continued on page 6. Page 7 is the Oklahoma voter registration application that was mentioned earlier in this Sooner script. Page 11 lists all of the NALC priority legislation, and it gives a description of each one. Page 12, in memoriam. Wallace M. Connerly, March 12, 1927 through April 6, 2024. Wallace, 97, of Norman, was born on March 12, 1927, and went to be with the Lord on April 6, 2024. Wallace grew up in Hornbeck, Louisiana, the oldest of 3 boys. He graduated high school in May 1945 and entered the U.S. Army service the next day. On a visit home, he saw Dean Gentry playing the piano at the First Baptist Church, Hornbeck, and Wallace knew she was the woman for him. They were married on July 4th, 1954. Wallace served all over the world, including Germany, Korea, and multiple combat tours in Vietnam, where he earned the Bronze Star. Their favorite duty station was the Panama Canal Zone in the mid 1950s. Norman became their home in 1966 when Wallace was stationed at North Base. He retired from the U.S. Army in 1969 after serving for 24 years. For his second career, he worked as a U.S. postal carrier for 22 years. He was a dedicated father who raised 3 children in Norman: Carla, Deborah, and Gary. Brother Connerly retired from Moore Branch in 1990. Phil Alexander, March 25th, 1969 through June 28th, 2024. Phil Alexander, born on March 25th, 1969 in San Fernando, Trinidad, passed away at the age of 55 on June 28th, 2024, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Phil was a dedicated family man, known for his profound love for his wife and children, his culinary skills, and his service to the community. Phil's education journey began at Marabella Boys Government School, followed by Marabella Junior Secondary School. He furthered his education at the University of Phoenix and Mid-America Christian University. Phil's career was as diverse as his interests, starting at Curls for Girls Promotions in Trinidad, then as a head chef at Granny's in Trinidad. Later, he moved to Oklahoma City, where he worked as a customer service representative at Sprint for 12 years and as a U.S. postal carrier for 8 years. Phil is survived by his loving wife, Tabby Ruth Alexander, and his children, Takesha Melissa, Madeline Jean, Kennedy Madison, Clark Don, and Phil Anderson Alexander. Brother Alexander was assigned to Westside Annex at the time of his passing. Scholarship news on page 13. Thanks to the following Branch 458 members who donated to the Branch 458 Memorial Scholarship Fund: Bob Bearden, Janice Davis, Steve Riggs, Eric Bew, Ken Mayfield, and Jerry Bickle. 100% of all donations to the scholarship fund are used for the cost of scholarships for winners chosen annually by the Branch 458 Memorial Scholarship Committee. Applications are available for graduating seniors, children, and grandchildren of members towards the end of the calendar year and generally due by March 31st of each year. To date, Branch 458 has provided scholarships to more than 25 students that are children of our members. Phoenix Garner was a recent winner of our Branch 458 Memorial Scholarship Fund, daughter of Brother Rusty Garner and his loving wife, Kim. Phoenix is a member of the Principal's Honor Roll and was a 2024 class valedictorian. She earned a 4.53 GPA and ranked 7 out of 549 students at Yukon High School. Was also a volunteer at the Special Olympics. Phoenix earned a 30 on the ACT and is pursuing elementary education at Oklahoma State University. Page 14 is a list of our membership report. And so I don't mispronounce any of those names. They can be found on nalcbranch458.com, or you can find this on our Facebook page, and there is a long list of our new members. Congratulations to all of them. Page 15, as always, has our birthday calendar for the month of August. On the back cover of the newsletter, all of the officers were present for the last branch meeting. And then there's a table of contents for this newsletter. And then there's some upcoming events. There's stewards training. The next one is Thursday, September 5th. And those are always at 6:30. And then there's branch meeting on August 15th. And then the next one is on September 12th. We hope to see you guys there. If we don't see you in person, there is a Zoom that you can join. And the easiest way to find that is to go to nalcbranch458.com and you can find the Zoom links there, or they're also available on our Facebook page. I will put those in the description of this episode. That way, that it's just another place you can find it. But until next time, thanks for listening.